Hey now, cats, we're back again, and we got all kinds of good stuff to get into. So we got a brand new Depravity corner coming to you.
Oh yeah.
Is it gonna be pretty screwed up this week?
Oh boy, you have no idea.
Huh. So we have that to look forward to, cats, later on in the show. But I'm gonna get right into it. I'm gonna tell you, I've been gone for so long. There's been so much buildup of stuff that I need to get off my chest. Like I'm just gonna get right into it. XTina, do you ever watch like the commercials and they drive you nuts?
Commercials?
Yeah, is there a commercial that like drives
yeah.
you crazy? Like name me one commercial that drives you crazy you can't stand seeing.
Well, first of all, the Sarah McLachlan commercial with the dogs, and it's so depressing. And
oh yeah. The one they play the real slow, depressing music, and then it makes you want to kill yourself.
Yes,
and,
that one. Yeah.
No, oh by the way, donate to the animals.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't
like,
put
there's better ways to tell
before you put the shotgun in your mouth, please send your whole checkbook to. Oh yeah, I totally get that, but there's one in particular that drives me nuts, man. No matter what I'm usually eating at the time too. Not that it's really all that gross; it's just kind of strange. But the fucking Charmin toilet paper bears drive me insane.
They drive you insane? I think they're cute.
I don't like. They're always talking about shitting, like I mean for one, and then they always have like these weird like fucking orgasmic faces about when the toilet paper. If you watch, I'm telling you, the next time you watch it. They're like hugging them and holding them, and they almost need a room because they're like they get so fucking sexually charged up by this toilet paper.
Excited about toilet paper.
They're so excited they could shit with Charmin toilet paper. They're practically making love to the toilet paper right in the commercial. It drives me crazy every fucking time.
Wow.
So I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but commercials drive me nuts. I mean. Not only that, I'll tell you what else drives me nuts. We were watching Dancing with the Stars the one week. And they subject me to this Disney fucking week of Dancing with the Stars. For one, anyone that knows me knows I fucking hate Disney to begin with. And I'm just like, wow, I'm watching this, and it just made me think of the progression of how far when Disney came. Whenever Walt Disney, the inception of the park, and when he first had the idea for it, was in fact to make a place where parents and kids can like come together and have a nice time, and now it's like, although back then he was also a known anti-Semite and a humongous racist. So I mean, maybe just white kids. So I mean, you tell me. So like now I'm sitting there thinking I'm watching Dancing with the Stars, but as we're watching that, I'm not even thinking about that. I'm thinking about what if he was live today and he took a walk through his park and he's seen the progression of Walt Disney World. Would he be happy about it? I don't think so. He'd be like. There's black people in my park, for one. Like, there's no reason for this. Like, get them the fuck out of here. Like, that's what Walt Disney would say if he was alive today. And he'd be like, oh my God, there's Jews here. Like, there's two men kissing at the Matterhorn. Like, this is not what I fucking come up with. This dude used to sit in on, meetings when Hitler would have meetings.
Are you serious?
No, look it up, man. I'm not even fucking around. He was a big fan of Hitler.
Oh,
so,
wow.
I'm sure his idea of Disney World wouldn't know how to flew. So, I mean, other than that, throughout the week, it's just hard. It's hard being a fat dude.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, get a lot of fat dude flack. I mean, everybody looks at fat people and they're like, it's like they're a fucking, like it's a surprise.
Right.
You know, like I don't wake up in this fat, fucking, disgusting, ugly body every day, and I don't go to the mirror and I go,
holy crap,
holy fuck. How did this happen? Did
Yeah.
it happen overnight? No, I know I'm fucking fat. So, like, I mean, everywhere you go, though, I do feel, there is, like, a little bit, I used to hear it when I was younger, and I'm like, yeah, that's fucking ridiculous. But I do think there is kind of, like, some bias towards fat people.
Absolutely.
So, I mean,
absolutely. In fact, it's funny. In one of my Facebook groups, this girl was posting a picture of how much weight she lost, over, like, 100 pounds. And, you know, she was a cute girl before, but, of course, she looks freaking amazingly gorgeous now. So, which, you know, it's true. It's just a fact. But, so I say to her, have you noticed people treating you differently in the world? And I don't just mean men, like just in general. Like when you go to the grocery store and she goes, 100 times yes. And it's sad, but it's true. There is absolutely bias against fat people.
Yeah, you know, I didn't think it's just me. Like, you know, I'm like, well, whatever, though. I mean, it's just, sometimes it gets to me and sometimes, like, whatever, you know, who cares?
Yeah.
I'd rather be fat in myself than, like, you know, I'm miserable and
fake and
the
eating
bark
kale
off a tree and shit. You know?
Yeah. But there's no reason. If you knew how hard this man works, I swear to God, he burns like 1,000 calories a day, lifting sofas all day.
Well, see, that's the bad part about having
stuff.
like something, because nobody ever believes you. You know,
it's something that nobody knows
have like fucking
what it is.
You know, I have like a fucking
Thyroid
thyroid condition that they've been trying to figure out for almost 2 years now, and then whenever you tell, like, the skinny person that, I got a thyroid condition, that's why I'm fat. It's not entirely why I'm fat. I eat like shit. I do a lot of shit I'm not supposed to, too, self-admittedly. But the majority of it is, in fact, this problem. And you tell anybody that, and you're like, yeah, whatever. So we'll see about that. That's going to be interesting. I got to see a few weeks ago, everyone knows I'm a big Kids in the Hall fan, got to go to Kevin McDonald's live rock opera. That was really cool. If you have a chance and it comes to your city, I definitely would recommend checking it out. It was a lot of fun. Other than that, I just other things too. Like, it's funny. I'm such a fan of cinema and film, XTina. You watch things, and, you know, I grew up on film. Like, I mean, my family, that's what we did. Like, you know, that's how we showed love. Like, we'd go to the movies. Yeah. We'd watch them, you know, we'd rent 3 or 4 movies and watch them a night. Like, that's all we did. Yeah. So, when you watch so much film, I'm to the point in my life where I think I'm almost jaded. Like, where you see so much formulaic stuff that it's annoying at this point. Right. So, like, what I mean is like every, like not just romantic films in general, they all have the same basic formula, the same basic cliches. Yeah. And I just wanted to go over some that I think it's funny that you pick up all the time. I mean, is there ones that you even pick up? I mean, you're not a super crazy cinema fan like myself, but you do in fact enjoy films.
Yeah. But yeah, you definitely see the same. Like, I used to love a good rom-com, and I still do. But, you know, again, when you really don't know what you're getting into, you're like, here we go again. You know what I mean? And it makes me not want to watch it. And I'm probably missing some decent films because of it, which sucks, you know?
Well, see, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, for instance, you know, in the 80s, you had the boy from the wrong side of the tracks. He falls in love with the girl that's the exact opposite of him, being the prom queen or the cheerleader. Right. And then they fight, they break up. Then they fall in love, they realize they're destined to be together, but in their worlds they can't be together because it's just not going to work out. Yeah. But she has the obligatory fight. Or you have the other thing where the couple, you know, like When Harry Met Sally or Sleepless in Seattle kind of thing, where, you know, they're searching for their loved one their whole life. They finally, their ships in the night that pass, and they finally find each other. And then they realize, I don't know if I could be with this person. But then they split up. But then she's on a plane. She's flying away. He's chasing the plane down at the airport to get the girl at the last moment. He has to stop her. Oh, no. They finally get together. He catches her at the last minute, of course. Yes. Or it seems like she got away. Yeah. She got away. Boo-hoo-hoo. And then, no, she catches him at the last minute. And it's love. It's love. Mm-hmm. Ridiculous, man. Yeah. Like, so many fucking... everything has been done to death. It drives me nuts. I would go... If I went to a romantic comedy now, I'd make them reimburse me. Like, there's no... I can tell you right now, any given romantic comedy, you don't even have to, whether it be a Christmas one or fucking, and they always have this thing now where they have to put them on fucking, like, holidays, like, last Christmas or, fucking Valentine's Day or some bullshit.
Christmas looks like, ugh.
But it's the same thing, it's like, it's the lady that's hard to love and she's so wrapped, she's been hurt before, or vice versa, it's the dude that's been hurt before and he can't love anymore, and they fight, they meet, and they pretty much like they verbally fuck each other the whole movie, and then they realize, and then all of a sudden, oh no, I think I found that person, I need her / him in my life, and they get together. There you go. There's every fucking romantic comedy ever made in the past fucking 20 years. I saved you some money.
Yeah.
But moving right along, here we go. Now, then I love then you got to get into the people that have vices. Like, these are the ones, too, where they got to throw in, they make it a little more serious, like your Frankie and Johnny and that kind of thing. There's the troubled man or the troubled woman. Mm-hmm. She has problems. She's been burned. She's an alcoholic. She has some sort of substance issue. Mm-hmm. But she meets this man.
Leaving Las Vegas comes to mind.
Well, that's not really quite what I'm getting, because that's actually really, that's not, no, he don't. Okay. They fucking, that one they fall through on the actual.
That's true. Yeah.
There's no happy ending to be had there. That I respect, because that's a fucking realistic one. Right. That's how shit would really go in real life.
Exactly. And maybe that's
me too. I'm a fan of that one. That one's actually not nonsensical like all this stuff. But there's the troubled man or troubled woman. She's, she always has the snarky friend that's keeping her in check, not to give up. She has a stressful life, a bad job, a kid that's a shitbag that drives her nuts. Right. But then, she's still somewhat hopeful that deep in her heart, there's somebody that can, that can change her life, or she's, he's out there, But he's not out there because I have an abusive relationship and this and that, and I'm completely turned off altogether. But by some chance meeting, whether it be a bar or Christmas party or fucking some dumb bullshit, they meet, and she's like, or he's like, "Wow, I've never met somebody like her. I could talk to her all night long. Holy shit!" Mm-hmm. And then they start to think, "Could this be the one?" Long story short, they fall in love. The thing that's the most ridiculous about this premise is you're a junkie, okay, or you're an alcoholic. You have all these problems, but pussy or cock's gonna fucking change your life. Like, that's turning everything around overnight, Mm-hmm. The chick gets some dick, some sugar dick. She loves it. The dude gets some pussy. And then all of a sudden, love conquers all. I'm not addicted to booze no more. I'm not fucking doing drugs no more. Nothing. I'm addicted to pussy or dick. Fucking great. The end. Everything's great. Story, love conquers all. That is the most ridiculous fucking thing. I've seen 100 movies like this too. It's fucking ridiculous. Addiction doesn't work like that.
What's an addiction? And then when you're addicted to that person, then that becomes a problem, because then that typically doesn't work out.
But addiction don't work like that. Right. You don't put your dick in somebody and be like, you know what, this crack could just go fuck itself. Like, that just doesn't work like that. That never happens, right? Yeah, ridiculous concept. But enough of those. Yeah. Cats at home, if you can think of one, please send them in. WendyChops1976@gmail.com. Tell me your most ridiculous, overused film premise. Or, if you just want to say, what's up, fucking send us an email, drop us a line. I just read a weird story, and it doesn't have to do with film, of course, but I read a weird story on the internet where a troubled man got arrested for, in fact, fucking a bowl of soup at Red Corral, or Golden Corral.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You didn't read the story.
I did.
Okay, for real?
Yeah, totally.
I thought you were talking about your guy that you saw next to you at Golden Corral.
Oh, no, that was a whole different thing anyway. We went to Golden Corral. I mean, I totally believe this story now, because I've been to Golden Corral and I've seen the people in the tracks other than us. So we were there, and I'm waiting for them, and this guy, I hear this slurping noise, like, and I'm like, I look over, and this Chinese dude has his face down inside this bowl of soup. And he's not using like a fork or spoon or utensils in any way. And he's like lapping it up like baby pig style. And I'm like, it's one of those things where I'm like, am I really seeing this? And it took a few minutes for my brain to like catch up with it.
Very sad.
And then I'm like, holy shit, I'm really seeing this. And he's sick on top of it. So it's like, mid fucking slurp. So I'm like, where the fuck are they at? They got to see this. No one's going to believe me that I'm seeing this shit. So it just goes on for like 5 minutes. He finally gets done. They come and they see it. I tell them the story. Nobody believes me. So it's like, that's the way it goes. But yeah, Golden Corral, I get it. But like, I've never seen, if I had to fuck a soup, I'd have to think what would be the most sexually attractive bowl of soup. I mean, it ain't going to be chicken noodle. I mean, maybe a nice clam chowder. I don't know.
Lobster bisque.
No.
That sounds sexy.
Oh, that does kind of sound. You know what? Lobster bisque. Drop us a line. What kind of soup would you fuck? Moving right along. We actually had the opportunity to watch some stuff. I got to watch some films, cats. I'm going to do some quick little reviews here. We got to go see the Joker finally, which I thought was incredible.
Absolutely.
I've heard great things. I hear that Joaquin Phoenix might be up for an Oscar, which he should, man.
Doubt it. Yeah.
I mean, they don't. The Academy don't usually treat movies of that caliber very well, and they don't recognize them. But I really think it'd be an injustice to, in fact, leave this one out because the acting in this is incredible. The acting, I haven't seen acting like this in a long time. It reminds me of Taxi Driver a lot. Like if the Joker was in the world of Taxi Driver. I think that's why I liked it. So it seems like a Scorsese film to me. I mean, what did you like about it?
Oh, I mean, I like the psychological aspect of it. Like, I'm always fascinated by, people who commit crimes and things like that. So, I love, like, a good, like, enter a brain of a psychopath and how they become that way, and that's basically what it is. It's like a case study on this dude and why and how he became a psychopath, essentially. So it's very and it of course it makes complete sense, but
yeah, I mean, this guy, it kind of makes you think about like people in the real world because I sort of could see how it can happen now.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, this guy shit on and beat on and just tore up the whole movie. Like, it's almost now you sort of can rationalize how some people, the bottom fall out and the sanity just goes away. Like, I mean, this guy has every intentions of being a good person, and just his environment and people just fuck it up to the point where he's.
And some people are mentally able to overcome that kind of thing, but a lot of them aren't, and that's the prime example of how that works out.
So that definitely, I mean, it's almost hit $1 billion worldwide. It is the most profitable comic book film to date. So it should tell you, I guess, apparently we're not the only ones that dug it. So surely if you haven't had a chance to see it, check that out. I heard some news that I'm super excited about. I love Trick or Treat, the Michael Dougherty film, the anthology. I watch it I make you guys watch it with me every Halloween. I watch it all the time. I just heard that finally, after 10 years, there's talks finally about the sequel. But I don't know. It doesn't seem, there ain't a lot to work with. I mean, it's all up to Legendary Pictures. It's surely shown itself to be a big money-making marketer. There's you can get socks now, all kinds of fucking bullshit. But everybody wants another film. But he said he's more than open to do it. It's up to them. But also he questioned, like, there's in this age of reboots and sequels, maybe it's best just left unsequelized.
Yeah, maybe. And it's really nothing. I mean, it would have to be pretty much a completely different story, But I mean, it'd still be cool. But yeah, who knows?
The people are thirsting for it. Like, I, for one, would love to see that. But again, maybe it's right, though. Like, let's say a sequel comes out, it's really not that good. It reflects whether you liked it or not on the first one. So,
yeah.
That being said, moving right along, we watched another little film, and I'm going to stick up for this film. I've heard so many kind of, like, mediocre or bad reviews in this film, and it's fucking awesome. Like, I don't get it, man. Like,
Trick?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Everybody check out Trick, man. It's by the, people that did My Bloody Valentine 3D. They Drive Angry with Nicolas Cage, which is a lot of fun. These guys never let me down, man. And I thought it was really good. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be like a cliche type movie. Here we go, trick or treat, Halloween movie. But it's lots of twists and turns and unexpected things happen, and it's just not what you would expect, really.
Yeah, so I'm just surprised to see all the negative feedback because I think it's probably one of the cooler things I've seen in a while. So I mean, I don't go by reviews. I don't listen to people. I don't listen to myself. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, so I don't expect you to either. But if you're into like you want to see kind of a horror movie that's you think it's a little more intelligent.
Yeah.
I would definitely give that a shot. It's a slasher meets cop drama. So if that
There you go.
doesn't
that.
burn,
That's true.
if that doesn't bother you, I think that's what bothers a lot of people.
Yeah,
I don't think they want to see the
meshed
cop drama.
both
They just want to see a slasher. They don't want to see.
But I like that.
See, I do too. Like, so yeah, if that doesn't bother you, I think you're really gonna dig it. I watched an interesting documentary called Wrinkles the Clown. I was just telling a buddy of mine yesterday about it. Real quickly, it's about this clown. He's like a kind of drifter, and he becomes viral because people that have kids that are like complete shitbags that they can't control call him, and they'll come and scare the fuck out of them until they're good. So, it became like a viral thing. Like they would hire him, and he would hide under their beds while they're sleeping and scare the fuck out of them until they behaved. They would use it as almost as like a parenting technique. If you don't be good, you little fucker.
Pretty sure
Wrinkles,
that's borderline child abuse, but hey.
You know what? There's some kids don't listen to reason, and I get it, man. Because I've seen some of the kids in this documentary, and they need Wrinkles the Clown to come and scare the fuck out of them. They're little assholes. So.
Yeah, I told my daughter we're bringing Wrinkles.
Like they're all like, and then like they're all like, yeah, he ain't gonna come, and before you know it, he's fucking outside while they're eating dinner, like looking in their window, and like they're under the bed when they're sleeping, and it went viral. So it tells the whole story of how this viral thing took off. If you like documentaries, I think it's pretty interesting. And lastly, movies that I've seen I thought was cool. We watched a little movie called Girl on the Third Floor, only because I heard pretty interesting things about it. And I'm not a wrestling fan by any means, but I was interested to see there's a wrestler called CM Punk that, if you like wrestling, I'm sure you're familiar with. He used to be in ECWs and WWE. Now he's a big deal. This is his acting debut, and I actually heard he's good at it, and I have to admit he actually is pretty good at it. So, I mean, I liked it too because my boy Trent Haga, he wrote the story. It's kind of a I don't want to. It's one of those things where you don't want to say too much.
It's weird for sure.
It's a weird film. It's you never quite know, is it a ghost? Is it this or that? But that being said, it all definitely gives you all the answers you're looking for.
Yeah, it's worth a watch. It's not. I mean, is it an award-winning movie? No, but it's worth a watch.
I thought it was definitely an adequate time waster. Yeah. I thought it was decent. So I mean, the good outweighs the bad for sure. So I mean, if you want to see CM Punk act his ass off, you want to see his butt, chicks, ladies. If you want to see CM Punk's ass, there you go.
There you go.
Other than that,
movies for you.
That's for all. That's up your alley. Something I did see that excited me. Lee Wannell, the guy that does the Saw, he did a lot of Saw movies. Did Insidious, one of the first one, Insidious, I believe. He did a movie that is grossly underrated called Upgrade. A really, really excellent film that it just goes under everyone's radar. Check out Upgrade, incredible film. He's actually doing an update to The Invisible Man, and they just dropped the trailer yesterday, and I am blown away by it, man. Like it's a really different twist, which I think that kind of needs because it's so played out at this point, and they've did so many ridiculous attempts at The Invisible Man that it's not even interesting anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's a weird twist, man. Like you can check out the trailer. It's about like an abusive dude, and he becomes invisible, and he offers his ex $5 million if she could, I guess apparently stay alive by a certain point. So then he turns invisible, and he's like fucking with her, trying to kill her the whole time.
Oh Jesus!
So I think that's a pretty unique premise. So I'm like, it looks very exciting. He's never let me down. He's always a visionary. It looks amazing, and he's always a very exciting filmmaker. So, February 28th, 2020, I'll be checking that out, as you guys should as well. Another little piece of thing, since we've been gone, I think this is really interesting. Anybody knows the actor Elijah Wood? Of course you do. He was
the good son.
He was the good son. He was in all that Lord of the Rings stuff. Him and his partner has been working hard to acquire the rights to do a new Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And normally when actors get involved and they try to do stuff like this, it turns me off. But I have to say, this dude, I honestly think it would be in the right hands for this reason. Him and his buddy are diehard horror fans. Mm-hmm. He's taken so many different weird little roles that would kill his career that were horror films when he's been one of the biggest films of all time.
Yeah.
That tells me that he's totally passionate about the shit.
Yeah.
He did an incredible job in the remake of Maniac. I trust these dudes. If it happened, I honestly don't think I'd be worried. I mean, if they could get Robert Englund to don that makeup one more time, I would probably be down. So, two more things before we get to the Atkins interview and the old Depravity Corner here. Creepshow. I was a big fan of the Shudder series. We just watched the finale on Halloween night, and I am excited to announce that there is going to be a season 2.
Yay!
Super excited. We loved it, and other than that, we've been super excited and binge watching Atypical. Incredible show. I definitely think you should check it out. I've always been a Rappaport fan, as you know. Great show. What's it about?
It's about a teenage kid, whatever, with autism. And the mom is played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, who's, really kind of overbearing and quite annoying. So apparently she does a great acting job because she has all those things.
I don't think there's much acting involved.
Yeah, oh, ouch. And there's 2 new and upcomers played, the son and the daughter. And they play these teenagers, and of course the daughter's always kind of overlooked because they have to spend a lot more extra time with the son because of all his issues, struggling with autism and all the things that brings. But what's cool about it is they do a great job of showing how it is actually to live with an autistic kid, but they also show like how funny it can be at times, and it's refreshing in a way. And I even read like a review of a mom that's like, I have a son who's autistic, and thank you for doing this show, because it does show like that it's, there is some humor to be had with it all. So it's good. And I mean, the dynamic of the characters is great. Like he has this one best friend who's absolutely hysterical, and he has the relationship with his sister's just great. And it's just an all around great show.
Check it out, cats. And we're back, cats, this week. We're down for the part of the show that everybody loves, that you've been waiting for. You know her. You love her. It's my sweetheart. XTina, would you like to do a Depravity Corner this week? Would you like to tell us something fucked up this week that's going to disturb our whole life?
Yes. Yeah, and it sure is. Most of you, I'm sure, have heard about this by now. It's been in headlines everywhere all week long, and bet your balls hasn't heard anything about it because he tries to shield himself from that sort of thing. So let me do this. Let me start it out this way. So if I say, like, have you watched Breaking Bad, or have you watched Ozark? And when you think of Mexico, what do you think of?
Drug cartels.
Wow, look at that. That was so obvious. Yeah. So apparently, as we mostly all know, that Mexico has a huge problem with drug cartels. And we found out in a really shitty way this week how bad it is. As you may or may not know, there has been 9 human beings, 9 Americans, killed by a Mexican drug cartel this past week in Mexico. And of those 9 people that are dead, 7 of them are kids, including twin infants that were maybe a few months old. Yeah. So what we have here is a group of church people, and I'm all for y'all church people doing great things and all this, but at some point you got to think, maybe we shouldn't be going to these off the wall like places in the world, So there's this group of fundamentalist Mormons. They are not part of the LDS that we know in America. They kind of branched off, and I guess the Mormons here don't really associate. I don't know. It's a whole thing. But they still are, good people nonetheless, and they are, trying to spread their word of their religion to other parts of the world. So these folks have dual citizenship. They live in Arizona, and they also live in a small community in Mexico, about 70 miles south of where they live in the U.S. So they travel back and forth a lot. And so because of that, they're awfully often driving back and forth, like no big deal, They had weddings to attend, they had, other business to deal with and whatnot. So they're driving along. There's two separate families and two separate vehicles, SUVs, what have you. And they're driving into this part of Mexico. It appears to be called Chihuahua, Mexico. I'm assuming that's how you would pronounce it. And they get a flat tire. Like, what happens, So they pull off to the side of the road like most people do, and they are tending to this flat tire. Lo and behold, they are mistaken for their a rival drug cartel, and they are ambushed by these group of Mexican drug lords, and they are obliterated, shot at with guns, and the car was set on fire. This poor grandpa had to watch his daughter, his grown daughter, and his grandchildren burn alive in an SUV. Nothing to be remained of it, and we'll post a picture here of the charred remains of the SUV, and it's I have goosebumps just talking about it. It's an absolutely horrible scene, and there were also other children who lived through this and watched. And in fact, two of them, I believe a 12-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl, ran 14 miles to get help. They ran 14 miles to the nearest town to get any kind of help from, a police. But my understanding is, because these drug cartels are so big in these areas, there's not much government controlling these areas, because they're all scared. They're scared of the drug cartels. In fact, I was reading the comments on, under an article on the internet, and this woman's like, I have family in Mexico that lives in these parts, and I don't even go visit them because I know how bad it is. So it's a very horrendously sad situation. It's becoming a very big political issue, which is kind of great in this instance because, hopefully something can be done about, these drug lords and all this. And they, having this much power over their government is very bizarre. There's still nobody, they of course got away. Nobody has found the people. They did arrest a guy, but turned out he wasn't the guy he had nothing to do with it, so they let him go. So yeah, that's where we're at. So now today, I understand, or yesterday, they had a couple different funerals. And, in order to get the families from America down to this, where they're having the funerals in Mexico, they of course had to have, massive, the Mexican military basically came out and escorted them through their entire ordeal. It's just, it's the saddest thing, to have witnessed that. And I do pray for that the poor ones that have survived it. And, I pray for their mental health because, gosh, that's got to be a nightmare. And let's all hope that they come back to America and, I don't get it. Do you get it, Balls? Why do we need to go to, not that Mexico's a third world country, and I'm all for helping people who need help. I get it. But at some point you gotta, think of your own family and be selfish. It's okay to be selfish, people. Just don't do this.
Well, yeah, ultimately you should be putting your the safety of your family and you first ahead of everything.
Right.
I don't get it either. It's
just completely tragic. There's
I don't understand how you can mistake these people for.
I know.
Very
very goody two-shoe looking Mormons. There's no doubt that
that's what I mean. If you're the cartel, I was the leader of the cartel, I'd be like, I might need to find some new people here because obviously this is not going well. Wouldn't you think your rival cartel would be Mexican? These people are the furthest looking from Mexican, little blonde kids, how do you mistake that? I don't know. Yeah, that's
very sad.
Very big oversight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big tragedy for sure.
Very much so. So hopefully, out of tragedy, a lot of times, unfortunately, it takes big tragedies like this to make things happen. So hopefully, maybe something will be done, and then Mexico can get their shit together and get their government bigger and better to avoid stuff like this from happening. But also, people just quit going to these places. One of my bachelor people, as everybody loves, super religious, again, all these religious people, does great things. Has this great thing he does in Honduras, and they get down and they build these houses for people who otherwise wouldn't have a decent home. And I think that's very, what's the word? Charitable, very nice of you to do. But, why? Why can't we do that here? Have you been to Skid Row in Los Angeles? Can we build people houses here in America?
I think there's definitely people here that could benefit before anyone else.
I'm all for helping people, but come on, we can only give so much help, and people here need help. It's very bizarre to me. I don't understand it, and I'm sure there's some reason behind it.
I mean, it could go the other way too, though. I mean, we provide so much help to others here that we have a society. We have a society that has become helpless because of it. So
I agree. That is true, and maybe they just appreciate it more down there, and they'll actually do better things with it. I do believe that. So that could be the case. I don't know. If anybody knows, let us know, because we're baffled by it.
Hey now, cats, we're back again this week in the Balls from Ellwood show, and with us I have one of Baltimore's finest. I have with me Lady Hatchet from the very incredible ska band, the Scotch Bonnets. How you doing there?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Mike?
I am doing great. I have so many questions. I just recently got into you cats, and I absolutely love your music.
Oh, thank you.
But I'm dying to know more about you and the band, so can you please tell me, you're from Baltimore, correct?
Yes. Well, originally I'm from Rhode Island. I kind of popped around the East Coast for a little while and ended up there in 2008. And I love Baltimore. I love it. It's, I'm a huge champion of the second tier cities. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, your cost of living's a lot lower. I think it fosters more creative energy. You spend less time worrying about how you're going to pay your rent and spend more time working on your craft. And Baltimore weird is a real thing. People in Baltimore fly their freak flag high and proud. So I know I really came out of my shell when I got to Baltimore, because it was I can be as weird as I've ever been, and I'll never be as weird as some people I know. And it's liberating. It really is good.
That is liberating. I feel that way around here, so I can only imagine.
I've heard this about Pittsburgh. I've heard that
we're very accepting people here, I have to say. So.
Yeah.
But tell me, how did the name originate? I mean, how did you? I just want to know so much. How did the band come to fruition?
I can tell you everything.
How did the name? I mean, was your parents supportive? Were you always musical? I got so much stuff to get through, and there's not enough time. I can't stand it.
I got you. Okay. In a nutshell.
Okay.
The name The Scotch Bonnet came, well, first of all, I smoke a lot of weed, and I was up in my room one day thinking about jerk sauce, about that flavor, and I'm a pescatarian, so
Bless you.
Oh, thanks. I feel healthy. So, anyways, I was up in my room thinking about jerk sauce and how oftentimes I can find it on jerk chicken, but you can't find jerk tofu, jerk fish. And I'm I'm creative. I'll just figure out how to do it myself. So I Googled that shit, and they were the first ingredient is the Scotch bonnet. And I'm what the hell is a Scotch bonnet? So I wikied that shit, and it said that it was this hot pepper found in the Caribbean, cousin of the habanero. And when the Scottish explorers went to the Caribbean, somewhere lost in the translation was that the hats that they were wearing kind of looked like this pepper, hence the Scotch bonnet. And I am Scottish. My name's Kristen Forbes. So I thought, this is sort of fitting, if I have when I start another reggae band or ska band, I should call it the Scotch bonnet. But then as the final test, I called up my best friend who's a writer, and I was like, friend, what do you think about this for a band name? The Scotch Bonnets. And she said, Scotch Bonnets, is that what one wears after a night of heavy drinking? And I said, no, but I like that misinterpretation too. So that's where the name came from.
How did you all get together? I mean, can you name me that one defining moment where you knew ska music has left an impression in your life and that's what you wanted to be doing?
Well, I played in a ska band back in the 90s that nobody heard of called Take 5 up in Boston. And I got kicked out of that band because people were like, oh, you're not ska enough, you don't know the music well enough. And it was funny because right then, like, I didn't really know the music going into the band. But by the time I got kicked out, I had totally fallen in love with it. I discovered Scatolites. I discovered kind of like, you know, roots ska music, and really just was, I got it. But by that point, it was too late because I didn't have anyone to play with. But yeah, like, I mean, that groove, it's the best. I don't have to tell you. I don't have to tell you, people, you know.
Absolutely.
It's that groove. It's the best. And once it gets a hold of you, like, that's it. Game over. That's what I'm doing, you know. I'm scarred for life.
You've been in the scene for a while. I mean, I've noticed. I've been in the ska for a long time, just like you have, and you know, my cameraman here has. Can you tell me? Do you think in the past decade the scene has changed, and has it been for the better or for the worse?
I feel like things ebb and flow, and that's just life. Like, there's always balance in the universe, and I feel like with ska, like, we're not in insular scenes, but we're a subculture, and things like that are always going to, like, have their times where they swell like they did in the 90s, and then, you know, the fat cats at the record label think they can commoditize that and commercialize that, and then there's going to be a backlash, like, there's not enough people to support that, it's going to collapse. And we went through the collapse in, like, the late 2000s. Of course, in 2009, that's when I thought, I should start a ska band now, right? This is the right thing to do. Perfect timing. But I think, like, you know, everything that's old becomes new again. In the 90s, like, every 20 years, there's cycles, and people are excited about the 90s again, and suddenly, like, oh, ska music is kind of having an uptick. But it's not just because of the time. I think there's something in the water. There's lots of great bands out there now, like current bands, you know? Like, just in the Mid-Atlantic, we have the Loving Paupers, we have the Fuss, we have Eastern Standard Time has been around. I feel like a healthy scene has, like, some old guns and then has, like, newer blood that are kind of, like, working off of each other to build up the scene. And you see that everywhere. You know, we've traveled a lot this year, and every city there's at least one or two bands doing something, and it's, like, really encouraging. Like, it's definitely happening.
On your latest album, you do a very interesting cover of Royals by Lord. What can you name me some other, like, guilty pleasures musically that you have?
The Carpenters.
I love the Carpenters.
I love the Carpenters.
That's not a guilty pleasure at all.
Okay, good. Some people think that's guilty. I'm like, no, but Karen, she's so pained. I feel that, you know? And the songwriting was really good. Who else do I love? Who are my guilty? I love Beyonce. I love her. Right? Everybody can use a little bay in their lives, you know. It's so motivating. I do my calisthenics in the morning. I grind till own it. I don't know. Guilty. What's guilty? I mean, you know, everybody likes to eat a donut every once in a while.
Can you tell me something about yourself that fans would be surprised of?
I have a Lord of the Rings tattoo.
That's a good one.
I'm a secret nerd.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I guess since the band started, I should probably wrap this up.
Probably.
But I just want to ask you on closing, do you have a good shit your pants story?
Like that I shit my pants?
Yes.
Literally?
Yes. I ask everybody this, and they either refuse to answer or to tell me the best shit your pants story that I've ever heard.
I never shit my pants, but I have a good piss
Have
my
you ever
pants.
shit anybody else's pants? I shit
like,
someone's pants from
I feel
across the
like
room once.
Somebody shit their pants once. Oh no, I can't tell that story.
Oh,
no.
you can't just bait me. And,
no, I really can't.
Can you change the names to protect the innocent shitter?
Yeah.
Just call them Shitter A and Shitter B.
I was on the Warped Tour with Shitter A. And homeboy, like when you're on bus, okay, the thing with tour buses, people think they're so glamorous, but you can't put solids in those toilets. You can't put toilet paper.
I didn't know that.
Tour bus you ever go on, there's always going to be a little tiny trash can full of toilet paper because you can't put it in the tank. You can't put solids, and you cannot shit in the toilet. You cannot. So, if you're gonna shit on the bus, most of the time you have to get off, but if you're gonna shit on the bus, you have to do it in a bag. And poor shitter A, man, it just came up fast, and like, he like, I think he was wearing my boxer shorts.
Oh no!
And he was like, oh no, and he like, yeah, he like, bag of shame, and my shorts went in the bag with them. I never saw them again.
I was going to ask you what's the hardest part about being in a band, but I think you just covered it. Can you tell me the worst gig you've ever played and the best gig you've ever played?
Man, okay. The best gig I've ever played has an asterisk next to it because it was like magical. The first time we played with the Toasters out in
I love the Toasters.
Tempe, Arizona, at the is that it? Where Yucca Tap Room? Yucca Tap Room was like a magical show. We'd never played there before. I mean, it was one of our a couple shows into the run, so we're firing on all cylinders. We're just like crushing, and like we never played. No, there was like maybe 2 people in one of the other bands that knew us, but everybody else like were brand new, and we just sucked everyone in, and everyone was just wide-eyed. The few people who did know us were singing along, and people were dancing and going apeshit, and it was just so cool. And then at the end of one of our songs, like the last song, we played the song I Do, and like we're in the saxophone solo, and Tiffany's ripping it, and I'm getting ready to version the song like I always do, and it got a little quiet, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they're singing the refrain at the end with a little bit of rockin' style, and like no one cued them, they just did it. Like they wanted to sing, so they did. The magic took over the room, and it was happening. And I almost started crying on stage because I knew what was. I was like, the magic has occurred. Like we has transcended sound, and it's coming back to us in a cyclical energy, and this is just so incredible. And then we sold like $500 worth of merch. It was like such an amazing, triumphant, magical evening. And then the next day we got to Las Vegas, and I was like, guys, where's my guitar? And it had been swiped out of the parking lot while they were loading out, and I was working the merch table.
Sons of bitches. If you're out there and you did that, you send that shit back.
Karma, man, you're fucked. Like, you're fucked for life. Like,
if you're out there, right here, fuck you.
Whatever. Like, I pity you. Clearly something is wrong with your life if you don't recognize how fucked up that is. So.
Does being in a band fuck with you being able to have a relationship or a real friendship, or how does that work? I mean, is that
No, I don't know what you're talking about at all. Oh, no. I mean, like, it's a really weird lifestyle. I have this conversation a lot, it's a really weird lifestyle. It's very nomadic. Your first love is always the music. And so anyone who's going to be with you has to recognize that, like, intrinsically musicians are a little bit selfish, and you always have to settle with being number 2 and knowing that your partner, like, might not make it to that party or that birthday, or you might not be going on that vacation because so-and-so's off on tour, and it seems like it's an adventure and it's so much fun, and it's like, no, it's like riding in the car for hours and hours, and like eating shit food at rest stops and sleeping on floors, and and I love it because this is what I have in my life to fulfill me. I don't have a partner. I don't have I lied. I'm very happy. Please don't email me. Please don't. I'm very happy. Yeah, and people have to be accepting of that. And I think maybe I'm generalizing a little bit, but I think women sometimes are more accepting of that, and that's why guys can hold on to a girlfriend for a period. They get tired of it after a little while, and then you have to find a new couch to slip on. But like with men are less patient. A lot of they're kind of not as so. I've just been like, all right, whatever. Like this is my life, and I'm kind of unapologetic about it. And it also the few that are like. Some guys who do get interested also get very intimidated because I'm a lady boss. I run my crew, and we're doing pretty well, and like I'm very, very grateful for that. But like that can scare the shit out of someone who's not,
used to a powerful
used
woman.
to that, or like it has ego issues, and like, but whatever. That's their problem.
Are you a fan of the horror genre?
A little, kind of.
What's your favorite horror film?
My favorite horror film, Hellraiser.
Nice. What, have you ever had a supernatural experience?
Yes, Do I want to tell this story? Jesus Christ.
Of course you do.
Well, it's a little bit personal. And you people...
It's just me and my cameraman and everyone that's going to watch.
All right.
11 viewers. So, I mean, it's just the 13 of us. Go ahead.
Jesus Christ. The day that my dad died, so my dad was in the hospital for a little, I won't make this super depressing. My dad was in the hospital for a little while, and we thought he was getting better. My brother and his wife and kid were already signed up to go on a Disney cruise. And initially my mom was like, do you want to go on the Disney cruise? And I'm like, oh, hell no. I don't really like cruises that much. And that's not true, Flogging Molly. and I don't like, I certainly am not a huge Disney fan. So,
I hate Disney. Fuck Disney.
Like, not really. Yeah.
Right here, Mickey Mouse.
It makes me really sad that they own, like, the Star Wars franchise now. Like,
they're the
you know?
They're the
like,
worst. I read this book. I was just telling him on the way up. It was called The Mouse Betrayed. It's all the evil, sick, twisted shit that Disney gets away. Watch, I'm going to get the black vans go pull up in front of my house and you won't ever talk to me again after
No.
But, no, they're so... they're the Illuminati. Don't even get me started. I fucking hate Disney. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
It's sad, like, as a longtime Star Wars fan. You're fine, dear. Just don't pull out the thing. Ba-da.
Special guest appearance by...
Homeboy. Like, it bums me out because I'm not going to get that Disney streaming shit.
No.
And I'm not going to watch that show. The Meta...
Oh, I watched the first episode. It sucks.
It does?
Yeah, it's boring.
Great.
It was
I'm
like,
not missing
hey, I'm
anything.
walking across the sand. Hey, I'm walking across the sand. I'm walking across the sand. Oh, there's Boba Fett. The end. See, I just saved you guys a lot of time and effort. You're welcome.
Awesome. Oh, man. But anyway, so my mom was going to go on the cruise, and then she's like, oh, your dad's in the hospital. I feel like I should stay with him. And my sister-in-law was like, if you come, it only costs like $50 to change your name. But if you can't come, we can change the trip around. But like my niece is going to go she was going to go with her 2 friends. And and I'm like, all right, I'll take one for the team. I don't have any shows. I'll go on the fucking boat. And that day we had our shore excursion. We went to the shore. And it was very rocky. There were still hurricanes in the Caribbean, so you couldn't go swimming, but I could feel like the energy. Like, I'm turning into a big hippie punk as I get older. Like, let me tell you this. Like,
right.
I meditate.
Pittsburgh's cool with hippie punks.
All right, like Vic Richard, when I talk about this, I text him.
Oh my God!
You know you're a hippie punk when after the show you don't want whiskey, you just want green juice.
How about like the Slackers is like the best, right? Vic is like the best dude ever. I just interviewed them last time they were in town. I talked to Glenn. Glenn is my boy, man.
Glenn Pond.
Glenn is super into horror movies, and we're like,
oh my God! Oh God! I'm sure that was a mighty conversation.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Oh God! I love
they're the best.
I feel like they are like, I had my Cinderella moment with the Slackers in 2015. Like when Jay fractured his collarbone, they asked me to go to Europe with them to fill in. So I went to Europe, I went to Canada, and like I feel like I literally feel like I was Cinderella scrubbing floors until they were like, come with us, Kristen, come go on the bus. And I was like, me? Oh my God. And then suddenly people started to pay attention. Because like, I guess people figured out, oh, the Slackers tapped her, then she's got to know how to play. She's got to be a decent player because they wouldn't just pick
anybody.
They've got to get somebody who can get in the pocket like that. And I learned so much about listening, and I learned how to version songs. Every night I'd just be like, I want a piece of that, and I would just do it, and it would be great. And like I didn't even know I could do that until I played with them. Like they are like my big brothers for life, and I have so much love and respect for them.
I love them. I've loved them since I was in high school, and they just get better and better.
Yeah, they're great.
But I mean, that's we might want to wrap this up now because the show's starting.
Okay, now it's really for real starting.
But I have a very important question for you.
Okay.
Where can my audience find you, and where can they check out your stuff? Where can they get this awesome merchandise like you'll see right here? Check that shit out, folks.
Well, Mike, you should just tell your listeners and viewers to go down to the web at www.thescotchbonnets.com, and you can get links to our Bandcamp store as well as YouTube clips, and follow us on Facebook or the Instagram.
Well, I can't thank you enough, Lady Hatchet. Great interview.
I'm a hugger. Thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity, and everybody, you better check these motherfuckers out because they're awesome.
Yeah.
Peace and love.
Fun like it's a Saturday night. Gotta be lovers, they're waiting for friends. Gotta be lovers. Another story on mine, so I don't put me probable time. Gotta be lovers, if we can be friends. We gotta be lovers. Why you so busy? You can find an hour or two for me. I ain't talking about a lifetime. Talking about one night. One night. Another message of mine. The excuses I've been needing to tell. You gotta be lovers. If we can be friends. You gotta be lovers. Another reason to fight, but I'm holding back with every single breath. You gotta be lovers if we can be friends. We gotta be lovers. Why you so dizzy? Spinning round in circles in your head. Anxiety will wear you down instead. Put on your toes, come on, go with me.
another case to be eulogized. But I'm breathing with no insistence, responding to stimuli. Anyone explain these new laws of nature? Why would they rule in favor of their own defeat? Cynics are excused from standing up the problem. They can't get out of their seats. Now go everyone is nice, everyone is kind now. At least they're nice and kind to me. How do people fold up something so precious? Why would they vote in favor of their own defeat? Drum and bass. Maybe they found their voice when out shopping. The price was ours to be.